Greetings, salutations, and welcome, Earthlings, and everyone else beyond. Who knows who's tuning into this show? It's League Unlocked. My name is Eric. Thanks for hanging out. We're on the Millennium Falcon, flying Han Solo on today's episode as we go through some more continued highlights from the LCK. A couple of nice matchups coming into this one, and eventually we'll preview some LCS fantasy. But starting with the first matchup in Korea, Griffin versus Gen.G. And you know, Griffin has been on an absolute tear. 5 best of series wins in a row, and every single one of them was a 2-0, which, yes, makes it 10 matches in a row. And then, of course, they did drop a game at Rift Rivals, but for the most part looked pretty solid at that event. And coming into this one against Gen.G, who have not looked as good as of late. They had a great start to summer, but have kind of, I don't want to say floundered because that's a little bit too much, but not looked as good as they did earlier in the season. But remember, they were the first ones to begin the demise of Griffin in that spring split with a 2-0 win on Ruler's Vein. And heading into game 1 here, you had some nice drafts, mainly because that is a Volibear support for life on Gen.G. Yes, this isn't team to fight tactics. Volibear isn't good in the competitive scene right now, but apparently he's good for Gen.G. He flashes in on to the AD carry Viper there for Griffin and grabs first blood for them with the bear. Well, that's not too bad. You also had Fly in the lineup in that mid lane. He was playing Lux in this one. The Rift Herald goes to Gen.G. A nice snare grabs another one for them. Then they're grabbing an Infernal Drake and another beautiful snare. A couple more kills go the way of Gen.G. Really solid early game for them. But you know, this fight is just getting started, and Griffin comes in. Chovy with a nice CS lead on the Irelia. Looks like he's about to clean this one up. The Requiem from Tarzan grabs another kill, but it's Sword on that Karma that can't be taken down, or will eventually be taken down, excuse me. The Camille for Cuvée to survive, and it's an ace for Gen.G. And then around the Baron, Gen.G just waits it out. Look at this slow and patient play from them. They wait till Baron gets around 4K, and then they finally go for the engage when everybody on Griffin is chunked to pretty low health. Then they go in for the fight and absolutely clean up a couple of kills. The rest of the members are too low to even contest. Baron goes over to Gen.G, and what is this? They're actually looking like a very solid team in this one. Then they're going to the bottom lane, grabbing an inhib turret. Fight continues after that. Look at the damage from these final sparks. The Requiem again comes in from Tarzan, but that doesn't really do anything. It's a clean ace for Gen.G. 4 dragons, a Baron buff, still with 11 seconds to spare on that one. Game 1 goes to Gen.G, handing Griffin their first loss in their last 5 best ofs. And into game 2, Griffin says, we're done with that bear. We're banning that thing from you. Nice adaptation, I guess, to the pick ban, but you have to ban Volibear. It doesn't matter. Galio works the same way for them with the flash in for life, and Peanut is there, aggressive early, actually proactive. That's a first blood again, going to Gen.G. And again, it's a Lux here in this game, and the snares that Fly were putting out were absolutely fantastic. Tarzan is on the Karthus yet again. This time, the Requiem actually puts in some work for him to grab some kills. It ends up being 3 kills over to Griffin to get them back in this game. And check out Sword and Cuvée, the 1v1 showdown, but he saves the oranges and flashes, gets the kill, survives the Karthus ulti, and these guys were right back at it again a few minutes later. Similar outcome here, except this time they both go down. Cuvée did flash in place there at the end, but those were some insane 1v1s between them. And after they both go down, Griffin just rushes the Baron. Too late of a contest, although Nautilus does pick up the Baron on this one. There is a kill, a couple of kills exchanged. Chovy flashes out to survive. One goes down, but they grab the Baron. And then these guys are fighting over the Elder Dragon. Again, a 1v1, and the Karthus ulti takes down Cuvée in that split push, which means Sword is going to recall and TP back. But he's not going to TP to this fight because I guess he believes his boys on Griffin have it. He TPs to the top lane to start pushing there, and this fight does go the way of Griffin. 2 members left to flee for Gen.G, but Fly does survive on that Lux. But the Elder Dragon and Baron buff goes over to Griffin. Sword eventually grabs an inhib. It looks all good, but there was one pick to slow things down, and then Gen.G defending their own base. They get a couple of nice picks here. Again, some big snares. Lehens is going to go down, and then it is Chovy also going down. So all of a sudden, all those inhibs down, but it's a 5v3 for Gen.G. They push down mid, grab an inhib, and this is 45 minutes. These are long death timers. Tarzan flashes in for God knows why. I feel like he should have stayed out and played a little safer there, but he goes down. Viper stays alive. Lehens is up, but that's 2 Nexus turrets that have gone down, and Gen.G feel like they can go for the win. Chovy shows up there. Everyone's dying on Gen.G, but 2 members stay alive. That's all they need. 2-0 series for Gen.G. Most unexpected, I would say, coming into this set, and these guys are very excited, as they should be, very much still in contention for their playoff hopes and dreams. And the gauntlet comes early for Gen.G. They've now won 4 straight against Griffin, going back to that spring split. And I mean, the last year and a half we've talked about Gen.G, it's all been Ruler and him just hard carrying a lot of these games. And, you know, maybe you're saying Griffin, they didn't perform to the level that we've seen the last 5 best of series from them. But let's not take anything away from Gen.G. They actually just played 2 really solid games. You thought that game 2 was absolutely done and dusted when they gave up Elder Dragon and Baron. They lost an inhib in the top lane, but some great base defense by them, accompanied with some Griffin members getting caught out and slowing that siege that they had. But Gen.G overall, that game 1 was a stomp in their favor, and game 2 they come from behind to steal a victory against Griffin. 2-0, would not be expecting that to be the case. Yeah, Griffin, first loss in a very long time. 5 best ofs, as we have said, and pretty much everyone in Gen.G looks solid. Cuve, those 1v1s, he was perfect on the Camille in game 1. Ruler was still a consistent carry, and Fly on that Lux back in the lineup. He looked absolutely incredible. I expect him to be getting some more starts going forward, because at times in 2018, he was pretty solid for them. Coming up after the break, the other matchup from the LCK. And yes, it's the Telecom Wars, but when are we going to stop talking about it like that? Because this rivalry is not nearly the same as it once was. What is up, down, and sideways, you fine and interesting people? Welcome back to League Unlock, going through some LCK highlights in week 5. We already had the Telecom Wars earlier in the summer split, and it was a sad game and a painful game for your eyes, a little bit of a fiesta, and not in a good way. This rivalry, obviously not nearly what it was in 2016, 2017, 2018, 2013, pretty much all years of the past, because right now it's just 2 non-playoff teams going up against each other. Obviously, SKT looking a lot better over the last couple of weeks. Looked good at Rift Rivals, completely smashed Hanwha in their last LCK matchup. So they've got a bit of momentum coming into this one. KT have lost 5 in a row and have absolutely no kind of momentum at all coming into this one. And game 1, it was not score we were seeing. It was Umpty in the jungle. And SKT, the lineup they've been running a lot lately is the OG 5 minus Mata, because it's effort getting the start at support. And early on, it's just Clid doing Clid things on the Lee Sin, locking up first blood for Khan against Smeb, and we know how good he is in the early game and how important he is for SKT's early game. And then Teddy and Faker, this poke comp of Corky Varus, basically just 2 shots, 2 guys on KT, 3 kills go that way. Khan was having a time in that top lane. Smeb just could not deal with them, especially when there's a Lee Sin coming in and kicking you in the wall. And I mean, Clid was all over the map on this Lee Sin. KT was just giving up everything all over the map. Look at that, 2 Infernals, 2 Mountains. Yeah, that Baron's gonna go down pretty damn quickly. Look how low the kills are. This is the first kill that Effort even was a part of. And not to say he didn't have a good game, but there was just hardly any fighting in this game. It was KT just rolling over and giving up objectives left, right, and center. 5 dragons over to SKT with that Baron. I mean, finally they contest and try and go for a fight, but SKT is way too far ahead at this point. They take game one in a very easy condition. It was around 30 minutes for that one to go down. Very clean from them, and KT did not look very good. So we go into game two. This time the Azir goes to Faker. Teddy gets the Sivir, and that is a jinx in the bottom lane for KT. And finally, they decide to play the game with the jinx Tom Kench. Nice dodge there from Teddy, but it does not matter. He still goes down. Prey gets first blood of all people to get things rolling, but the 2v2s in the mid lane very much going the way of SKT. Faker and Clid again in here. He flashes after BDD to grab a kill. Instant cleanse on that Sejuani stun. And then he waits for BDD to use the portal jump, smacks him over the wall with the Emperor's Divide, and delivers him into Clid's waiting arms, even though Faker does grab the kill. And then they burn the flash on the Sejuani as well. Things looking good in the mid lane matchup for them. And also in the top lane, because Khan goes deep into Smeb on that Camille, and here comes Clid again. Much like the first game, he was all over the map, getting his solo laners ahead. Teddy got put down early a little bit on that Sivir. He was 0-2 to start, but he was still CSing because she is a wave clear bot. Then you got a 3-man Cataclysm here from the J4 on Clid, and that is just clean up duty, sweeping them across the floor, curling style, for Faker to grab a few more kills. Khan chases down BDD. 4 kills for SKT. You know that's going to be a Baron, and this is a trade that I'm going to say is absolutely worth. They send 3-4 people to take down Khan. You killed the Aatrox. Congratulations, KT. You also lost 2 inhibs. I think that is a sacrifice. SKT and Khan are okay with making 4 dragons again here to none for SKT. A little bit more fight from KT. I mean, the early game, they got first blood. They did some proactive plays, but for the most part, this game was even faster than game one. It's still very much a stomp in the favor of SKT, just following up on what they were doing pre-Rift Rivals and what they did at Rift Rivals in coming away with wins and looking very clean in doing so. I will say, not tons to take from this series because KT did not look good by any stretch of the imagination. They looked a lot like Gen.G, where in 2018, not even 2019 summer, because Gen.G has played in some competitive matches, and KT just completely rolled over in this one. SKT, though, if you're a fan of them, you should be feeling a lot more confident in this team, at least making playoffs, which legitimately was a question mark if you go a few weeks back. They still look like they can get back to the top ranks of the LCK. Clid, by the way, in this series, I talked about he was absolutely insane for them, and that's been SKT's main win condition throughout this new roster run that they've had. 21 of 22 kills he participated in these 2 games, which is absolutely disgusting. He did not die. He went 4-0-17 in this series. He got MVP in both of them, deservedly so. Actually, his first MVPs of the split, which is kind of insane and really speaks to how much SKT was struggling in the early weeks, because we know that anything he does in that early game is basically all SKT's early game. That's why they were getting pumped in a lot of these games, because when Clid is not running around the map getting his laners ahead, then SKT very much struggles. But everyone looked pretty solid for them. The case of Mata and Effort is still very interesting to me, and I feel like we're going to be seeing Effort more so. We already have been seeing him more so than Mata, and that might be the theme going forward for Coma and crew. But right now, SKT, all of a sudden, they've won 4 best of series in a row after their dreadful start. They're back to 500 at 5-5. With Gen.G's win, though, playoffs are they still need to win a little bit more, but they do have that head-to-head, and I expect SKT to be there in that top 5 at the end of the summer season. They're looking more and more like the spring split champions and the representatives from the LCK that went to MSI.